but nobody wants to sit in the front.
Yeah, we tag team. Actually, the Wednesday after Memorial Day, we're doing a tag team class full hour.
When you leave late, you can ask the chief. That's the chief right here. You can ask him to do a circle around. Yeah, he normally waits for me.
I'm so busy
Yeah.
with those.
Gianna's not gonna come to work that day because she doesn't wanna hear it.
Which I missed a call.
Yeah, you can let him know, and then he'll either ask him to send somebody by, just do a circle by, things like that.
Okay, I'm ready. Everybody ready?
Access to my phone.
I'm going to call the council meeting. I'm going to call the council meeting for the city of Ashtabula to order. Today is Monday, May the 6th, 2024. If at this time you would please stand for our prayer and our pledge.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to let your inspiration precede this council's action and all present here today, and your assistance further us, so that every word and work of ours may take its beginning from you, and so begun may through you reach its completion. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Bell, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Holman,
Present.
Mrs. Mills,
Here.
Mrs. DeGiacomo,
Here.
Mrs. Foglio,
Here.
Mr. Guerrero,
Here.
Mr. Simeone, Mr. Roskovich,
Here.
Mr. Timonier,
Here.
Ms. Cooper, here. Mrs. Augustin,
Here.
Ms. Bell.
May I have a motion to excuse Mr. Simeone from tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. DeGiacomo, second by Ms. Holman. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Mr. Simeone will be excused by a 6-0 vote. We are meeting the requirements of the Sunshine Law. We do not have any presentations or awards this evening, and I do not believe we are having any need for an executive session. Any counselor? Right, we will not have an executive session scheduled at this time then. And just to let you know, we when we get further into this, we'll have name tags so that you could address, if you want to address a certain counselor or the manager and the solicitor and our finance director. But, so tonight we'll just do. All right, we will have approval of the minutes.
April 15th, 2024, regular council meeting was called to order at 7:00 p.m. by Council President Roskovich. Council President Roskovich offered the opening prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance was recited. Present, Mr. Roskovich, Mr. Simeone, Mr. Guerrero, Mrs. Mills, Ms. Holman, and Mrs. DeGiacomo. Absent, Mrs. Foglio. Officers present were City Manager Timonier, City Solicitor Cecilia Cooper, Finance Director Marie Evros Augustine, and Clerk of Council Ashley Bell.
May I have a motion regarding the waiving the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. DeGiacomo, second by, I'm sorry, Ms. Holman? Ms. Holman? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will approve the minutes by a 6-0 vote. City Council, I mentioned we will be having a hearing later in the meeting. Other than that, I don't have anything for council this evening. Are there any other requests from any of the council members? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. President,
Yes.
I would like to request a resolution for Father Raymond Thomas. He's the pastor at Our Lady of Peace Parish, and he recently retired May 1st. It was supposed to be July 1st, but he retired May 1st, and we are having a celebration for him on June 30th with a party to follow. So I thought it would be, he's also head of the Ashtabula Deanery, which is all the priests and pastors in the area. So I thought it would be nice if we gave him a resolution on his retirement.
Ms. Foglio is making a motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, a second by Mr. Guerrero, to have a resolution written honoring Reverend Thomas, Father Thomas. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will draw that resolution up by a 6-0 vote. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few things to ask for tonight. First, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with Ashtabula Engineering of Lakewood, Ohio, for the purpose of providing 3 seasonal mixing zone studies in the harbor in the amount not to exceed $39,000. Funding for this expense will be taken from the Water Pollution Control Fund 504.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, a second by Mrs. Mills. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 6-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to execute change order number 1 with Ashtabula Engineering, again of Lakewood, Ohio, for the purpose of providing additional assistance with the renewal of the Ohio EPA NPDES permit as it relates to the Water Pollution Control Outfall Project in the amount not to exceed $5,000. Funding for this expense will be taken from the 504 Water Pollution Control Fund.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mr. Guerrero. Any discussion?
Mr. President, just to elaborate a little bit on both of these, as you know, we've been working on relocating our outfall down at the Kinder Morgan property. These 2 items are required by the EPA. They're making us do a seasonal mixing zone study, so we'll have to do a study in the spring, in the summertime, and in the fall of the area that we're discharging into. And then, of course, to draft all of that language and look at our limits and our permit, we need the help of Ashtabula to evaluate that and make recommendations on the NPDES permit to the Ohio EPA so that we can continue to operate as we are at the plant. So just wanted to follow up with a little bit of information on both of those.
Thank you, Mr. Timonier. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that to our agenda by a 6-0 vote.
That's all I have to request tonight, and those will actually be on an agenda at a future time. Those are just requests for tonight. Couple things to mention. I know that the high grass season has begun, and of course, with the amount of rain and everything we've had, it's been hard for people to get out on their properties to mow. Hopefully, we've had a little bit of a dry spell where people can get out. So please do get out there and cut your grass. 8 inches is the maximum height in our ordinance before you will receive a letter from us. And after we do send out letters, we give a certain amount of time in order for someone to rectify the situation, and then it goes on our list to be mowed by the city. You really don't want us showing up to mow it. It is a pretty hefty fine for us to do that, and if it's not paid, it does end up going on the property taxes to get certified. So if you need assistance with that, also please give us a call. Communication is the best thing. Let us know what's going on so we can try to assist you or send you to agencies that might be able to assist if you're having trouble maintaining your property. Just a note on that as well, I know we always get asked, but we are in the harbor area for the leaf bag pickup. It did seem like people were out quite a bit this weekend doing some cleanup, as the front of our public works station has bags everywhere. So the season has begun. Just a quick mention on paving. Obviously, the 531 and State Route 84 project has begun by ODOT. They've done a bunch of the milling. They've also laid the intermediate course at this time. So the project is nowhere near completion. That's why you still see the manholes and catch basins sticking a little bit up out of the ground. What they'll be working on now is installing ADA accessible ramps on all the intersections that don't have them already. They will be doing some curb work. They'll be doing adjustments and all the other repairs to those manholes and catch basins. And then when all of that is done, they'll be coming back through to lay the final course on the top. The project actually runs until August. We're hoping with the amount of base work that they've already done, full depth repairs that have already been done, and the speed at which the project is kind of progressing right now, we're very hopeful that it'll be finished before that time, but they do have until August in order to complete the project with the ODOT. And ODOT is managing the project. They are staying in communication with us for that.
And our paving projects, I mean,
Yes,
these
so-
are part of ours, but ours are gonna be bid and will also be done this season.
Correct. So ours went out to bid. We received the bids last week. They came in favorable. Our engineers are evaluating everything, making sure that they put their correct numbers and quantities in their bids. Their bids are legal to form in correctness. And then they'll make a recommendation to us, and then I'll bring that to council at the next meeting. We should be able to pass it at the next meeting.
Thank you. So a lot more paving to come.
How many bidders did we have?
I think it was 4, and we had one that came in an hour late, so they were disqualified. Yeah. I want to say there was 4 total for both the paving project and then there was 5 for the parking lot project. They made it for the parking lot project.
Okay.
Mr. Manager, I got a couple calls. Can you remind people that at the moment, golf carts in the city are
Golf carts in the city are not permitted.
not permitted?
That's correct.
And then I get all these calls on these revving the little dirt bikes and I mean, these are young kids and nobody has a helmet. And even when the golf carts come around and there's little kids and nobody, so again, those are
Not permitted.
not permitted. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. Manager, what are the fines
Or
for riding or driving the golf carts in the city?
yeah, I don't know off the, but I believe it's less than $200, between
Upwards and around
$150
$200
Yeah.
per incident.
Yeah.
And do we have a plan to sort of curb this since it's only May and it's already getting started?
I mean, the biggest thing is we have to observe it. The police department has to observe it happening, and if they do, that's when they can pull them over.
Well, even if they don't observe, for example, I've been, riding around and I can see it and I can easily take a picture and submit it. I mean, is that good enough? Or, because by the time, if they're not around to observe it, then the issue will continue.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, with something like that, they need to observe it before they can write a traffic citation for it. It's kind of like you calling in a speeder. They can go look for the speeder, and if they observe the speeder speeding, that's fine, they can write the ticket. But they can't write it based on you saying he was going 60 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone.
Yeah, that I understand as far as speeding, but if someone is obviously in a golf cart, that's pretty evident, and with photos or any sort of evidence or documentation, and given the location, I see it as a little different.
I understand, and I wish the law agreed with you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, can you verify, what about these guys with the wheelchairs on the road or any kind of a scooter that, you might be walking impaired? Are those allowed on the street?
They should be on the sidewalks.
You have a follow-up question?
Anything else for the manager? Ms. Cooper?
I have no report for the main council meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. Ms. Augustine? Mrs.
Mr.
Augustine?
President, I have a few requests. We're requesting an ordinance authorizing the city manager to amend the agreement with the Office of the Auditor of State in the amount not to exceed $3,000 to complete the annual report.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the Finance Director's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, a second by Ms. Holman. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 6-0 vote.
Mr. President, we're requesting an ordinance authorizing the approved budgeted transfers to be done by the finance director. These transfers, they are transfers that are already approved in the budget in December. And this ordinance is limited only to these transfers that were already approved, nothing else.
Mr. President, I move on the finance director's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. DeGiacomo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 6-0 vote.
Mr. President, we requesting an ordinance to make supplemental increases and decreases to appropriation in the general fund, police levy fund, permanent improvement fund for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Ashtabula, state of Ohio for the period of January 1st through December 31st in the amount of $132,000 to $64.81.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the finance director's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. DeGiacomo. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that to our agenda by a 6-0 vote. Anything else, Mrs. Augustine?
Oh, no, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And then, Ms. Bell, you have nothing or anything?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. All right, we will now go on to our committee reports. Economic and Community Development.
So our next meeting will be May 28th in this new building, and it will be the Health Department will be our guest. I did want to just mention that with our city cleanup, that Aqua did donate $1,000 to the cause, which helped with trash bags and gloves and grabbers, etc. Plus, they cleaned up Walnut Beach. So I think they got omitted in our thank yous, and I wanted to make sure that we did recognize them.
Thank you, Mrs. DeGiacomo. Finance and Personnel, Mrs. Foglio.
Oh, yes. We have a meeting scheduled for, it would be Friday, May 17th at 8:30 a.m., and I guess it's going to be here,
That's May 17th.
May 17th.
Safety Forces will be meeting next week on May 13th, which is next Monday, and that's at 8:45, and that'll be here also. And the Planning Commission, I believe, is meeting May 16th. I haven't heard about the agenda yet, and I haven't heard if there's going to be a historic preservation committee meeting this month, but we will announce those. But those will be on the council's calendars when they are decided upon. We do have a Public Work Committee meeting from minutes from Mrs. Mills.
Yes, we actually had our first meeting here, like on the opening day of the building. So it was a little chaotic, but we got through it. It was wonderful. It was on Tuesday, April 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. And we had a guest, Superintendent Lisa Newsom of Ashtabula Area City Schools. So Mrs. Newsom has worked for the schools for 26 years, and this is her first year as the superintendent. The district is hosting an open house for the new transportation facility. They are looking at tentative August 7th in the morning. The new facility includes classrooms, offices, and indoor parking for the buses. What was kind of nice is we talked about that the buses will exit, the name of the street.
32nd.
32nd?
Correct.
Not the other way by the church. So, yeah, that'll be really nice. The school district is one of 7 to receive recognition for their implementation of the positive behavior intervention supports for 2023. The school district hosts several programs and events that include anti-bullying, Black History Month performance, family math and reading events, and Dragon Rooms for behavior and mental health supports. They host a monthly parent university that helps non-English speaking families and they offer an overview of the individual education plan. They have a program that assists students with clothing and personal hygiene needs, and now an additional program offered is a mobile dentist that serves students. Mrs. Newsom talked about there is a decrease in enrollment, and that is due to a few factors. Parents are choosing to homeschool their children. They're also using online schools as well as enrolling their schools in other districts. Another factor is the low birth rate in Ashtabula County. She noted that these stats are happening all over, not just here. The district has a 29.15% rate of students with disabilities. Lakeside High School does host an attendance breakfast for students with perfect attendance and with a GPA of 4.0 or higher. What was kind of exciting, they're making changes to their curriculum, and I'm sure people will remember the old woodworking class. Woodworking design is back, and they had like maybe 180 that had signed up for that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I always remembered shop class. Introduction to drone technology, and I think when they do that, they also get some kind of a certification and training in Adobe industry standard software. So normally they would contract out different things and logos and banners and whatever, so now they'll be able to do those in-house with students. Lakeside High School also offers the College Credit Plus program for students to receive college credits while attending high school. One thing she noted, the district is in need of substitute teachers, substitute bus drivers, and sub-para professionals. The city manager's report, we are working on the summer season jobs. The pay is $15 an hour, and we encourage people to apply. We need folks to do that, and that runs until about August 30th. We talked that the paving has started, and we're working on the bids. Water pollution control update, Mark Verzella reported. Disinfection season started at the end of the month. The ultraviolet system is on. They followed up with the EPA in April to discuss an outfall relocation proposal, preferably to an inland slip. GPD group will begin survey work on Kinder Morgan and prep for the outfall relocation. The GPD study is still ongoing. This includes short and long-term capital improvement plan, sewer rate study, and SSO elimination. Public Works report, John Melnick gave the report. Leaf bags pickup started. The hot mix plants are open for the season. They're patching holes. The Public Works Department is doing tree stump removal. They were repairing a manhole on Woodman Avenue, working on the parks, and mowing the grass in the parks, as well as preparing the baseball field for St. John. They're still working on the repair of the jet, and do we have any update on that?
We should be getting that back anytime now.
Okay. Was that an okay repair? Was it a?
It was costly.
You know, that's what I was asking. Yeah, so we just have, that's the one that does both things. Okay. Superintendent Melnick was looking into a painting company in Mentor, looking at longevity for the crosswalks. So they're looking at the paint. The paint would be brighter and last longer, so, but it's a little more expensive, so they're weighing the options, looking at that. So our next meeting is May 28th at 8:30 in the morning, and our guest speaker will be Mr. Scott Wildega, the superintendent from ATEC. So it was a good first meeting here at the new location.
Thank you, Mrs. Mills. And I will just say the city schools are doing excellent. It was an excellent report, very enlightening. And they're doing a good job, especially considering the climate in Columbus. They're doing well, so kudos to them. Anything else for the reports? Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes.
So Mrs. Mills brought up about applying for our summer help. What does that process look like? So say I have a high school education and a clean driving record, and I want to work for the city of Ashtabula this summer. How would I go about applying?
Mr. President, Mr. Giacomo, so we do have employment opportunities listed on our website. People can go there and look at those. On there, we'll tell them how to go about applying. Typically, what happens is you go to the job source on Lake Avenue, and you'll fill out the application and submit it there. They do a little bit of the vetting for us, and then they send us everyone that applies. And then if it's a candidate that we'd like to interview, we'll set up interviews. I believe the current listing said it came down on the 19th, but people are still applying. People can still apply, and we'll get them, and we're going to update that and actually put it back out there for the part-time help right now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other committee comments or reports? Seeing none, we will move on to the legislative part of our agenda. We have 3 items tonight, all dealing with our finance department, an agreement with the state auditor's office, some budget transfers, and an increase and decrease in appropriations. If anyone in the audience would like to speak about any of these 3 items, you may do so now. Approach the podium and share your name and address at this time. Seeing no one, we will go on with our legislation. Ms. Bell, will you read us tonight's legislation, please?
Ordinance number 22448, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to amend the agreement with the Office of the Auditor of the State of Ohio to include additional work at an additional cost not to exceed $3,000. An ordinance number 22449, an ordinance to authorize the approved budgeted transfer in and out for the approved/budgeted amounts for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Ashtabula, State of Ohio, for the period January 1st through December 31st, 2024. Ordinance number 22450, an ordinance to make supplemental increase and/or decreases to appropriations in the general fund, police levy fund, permanent improvement fund for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Ashtabula, State of Ohio, for the period January 1 through December 31st, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Is it council's desire to handle these items in consent agenda format?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. DeGiacomo, second by Mrs. Foglio. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will handle these in consent agenda format by a 6-0 vote. Can I have a motion to waive the reading of the legislation in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. DeGiacomo, second by Mrs. Foglio. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the entire reading of the legislation by a 6-0 vote. May I have a motion to waive the charter requirements of 2 readings?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Holman, second by Mr. Guerrero. Any discussion? Will you please call the roll?
Mrs. DeGiacomo?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone? Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
And we will now vote on the adoption of tonight's legislation. Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone? Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
Mrs. DeGiacomo?
Yes.
All tonight's items of legislation have passed by a 6-0 vote. And I did forget to mention that we did waive 2 readings by also a 6-0 vote. So we are good to go there. Okay. That's it for our legislative part of our agenda. Does any counselor have any unfinished business that they would like to bring up at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to new business. At this time, we are having an appeal, and we are going to go through the process for the appeal. Ms. Cooper will help me, but what I believe will happen is we will have the residents who are appealing this decision. We will hear from you, and then we will, if there are questions, and then we will have the architecture board, I think has some members here, And is there a member of the planning commission?
There's a letter in their packet.
Okay. All right, thank you. There's a letter in their packet. So we'll have the planning commission, and then we'll have times for questions at that, council questions, and then we will go from there. Okay, so at this time, who will be speaking for the, Mr. Lacotte?
Well, we won't be able to speak.
Well, could one start, and, because I have to swear you in, actually, I'm finding out. So if you will stand up, and if you want, would you want to talk at the podium, or are you comfortable there?
We do have some papers I'll pass out too.
Okay, that's fine, okay. Well, let me swear you in first, Mr. Lacotte. Do you swear the testimony you are about to give before this council is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And if you would, please state your name and spell your last name for the record. If you wouldn't mind, there's a podium.
Back
Either
there.
Robert, and can you spell your last name?
Licata.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lacotte. Thank you, sir.
Bedtime for the girls.
Jim.
Thank you.
Am I talking into this? All right, here we go. All right, good evening, Mr. Council President and the council members. As I just said, my name is Bob Licata. This is my wife over here to my side, Micheline Guerrero. We own and operate the property that is being discussed tonight. Our understanding right now is that everyone on this board is aware of the situation, so I'm not gonna go into backstory unless you guys need to have further questions after this. But first, I want to start by clarifying and stating that in hindsight, we understand that that we made an error regarding the process of getting approval for repair, modifications, or replacement to the facade of the building we own. But we want you to understand that this was not intentional. We did not want to overstep anyone or any entity. We did not want to perform repairs that would be deemed inappropriate. What we did do is perform a much-needed repair to the facade of the building, which was in poor condition and continuing to deteriorate. The sight of it was unpleasant to the community and the historical district. This is the issue we rectified. So we will state once more, as we did to the Historic Review Board and the Planning Commission, that we are sorry for our misstep of the procedure and understand and respect the purpose. What we are appealing here tonight is the request by the Historic Review Board for us to demo the work that we performed. It is our position that the work we performed is not detrimental to the community, to tourism, the review board, neighboring properties, or to anyone or any entity. The decision made by the review board should be overturned tonight. Through this process that has got us here today, we have found that the Historic Review Board will only accept a wood front design. We made the choice of brick as a more sustainable building material to the wood, which had rotted out, as well as to blend in with the condo construction directly to the west of us. These buildings, adjacent to our property, are brick-faced, along with the brick garage directly to our west. The condos are also vinyl-sided, similar to our building on the other three sides. Reviewing another significant and recent change in the district, the wood facade of the post office building was recently remodeled with a faux stone and vertical panel design. In regard to history, to date, we have no evidence available to us as to the appearance of what this building was prior to it being a scuba shop. The basement walls are made of brick, and the building appears to have been added onto multiple times throughout its life, which brings into question what the original design of this building was. A further claim is that our building has no significant historical context. We understand the desire to preserve nationally registered landmarks, such as the Bascule Bridge and the Hubbard House and Mother of Sorrows Church. And the guidelines in the Ashtabula City website regarding historical zoning emphasize the importance of Bridge Street addresses beginning with 1000 and ending in 1205. Our address is 1317, is not in this range. Upon our denial from the Planning Commission appeal, which did not have a full board present, we were greatly encouraged to compromise with the Historical Review Board. We would like it to be placed on record that we did comply and submitted an additional request to be approved. We followed appropriate submission guidelines during this process, but unfortunately, a compromised design was not acceptable middle ground for the Historical Review Board. They made clear that any design that was not wood would be denied. So the takeaway points we would like to emphasize. Most of the buildings on Bridge Street are brick. Our brick, which covers only 3% of the visible structure, blends seamlessly with the neighboring condos, which also have a brick facade and 3 sides of vinyl siding. We made an important improvement to the property. The look, while not a wood storefront, still represents the overall historic district. This new look is not detrimental to the community, neighboring businesses, or adjacent properties. Community members and tourists alike would never suggest that this building stood out in a negative way. Nothing is offensively modern or colored outside of the historical palette. Additionally, the guidelines, again, on the Ashtabula City website do not include 1317, and we further provided an additional compromise design to try to work with the review board, but did not get approval. Please approve our design tonight. And Micheline would like to also add some additional comments.
Before she makes comments, can I just, so the record is clear, I'm sorry. Cecilia Cooper, I'm the city solicitor. You've handed council 2 documents,
Yes.
right? Okay, so the first document with the pictures on it, we'll call Appellant's Exhibit 1, okay?
Okay.
So the top picture, picture 1A, what is that?
Did you want to talk about that? Yeah, that's what Micheline wanted to talk about that
You're gonna have
section,
to
if that's
swear
okay.
in, I'm just asking him to identify it.
Oh, just can you rotate it to me so I can see that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the one on
Unfortunately, you
top.
have an extra copy. That is the top picture is our previous building.
Okay.
Our previous facade.
So
You
that's
could
what-
see the deterioration on the left side of the door, as well as on the bottom and on the top. You could see it was clearly in need of repair.
Okay, so that's the building itself.
Yes, that is the building itself.
And then Exhibit 1B, the brick buildings. Just
Those
in
are the-
case somebody is listening to this.
Yep, understood.
Who's not familiar, what is
Those are
that?
the condos adjacent to our building,
Okay.
the new
And
condos.
1C.
That is the post office.
And then down below that, there's another big picture, 1D. What is that?
That is the compromise design, so it's the work we did, plus we tried to add in some trim work around the window to bring out a more historical look than the brick alone.
Okay. And then underneath on it, there's some words, Civic Awareness Review Board. These are items, information that you found online?
Yes.
Okay. And then Appellant's Exhibit 2 is your statement of appeal to the Historic Review Board?
That's what I just read, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And it has attached to it 3 pictures. Are those pictures
Those are,
of the city of Ashtabula, or are they just
I think
examples?
those are just general pictures of other historical buildings that are brick, just clarifying that brick is historical.
Okay, not from our historic district?
Correct, not from our district, no.
Again, I just wanted to make sure things were clear. Thank you,
No,
sir.
absolutely, thanks for the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Licata. Now, would you like to speak, Ms. Guerrero? Yes, please. Okay, then I need to swear you in also. Would you stand so I can do this, I guess. Do you swear that your testimony you're about to give before this council is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, sir. Thank you. And if you would share with Ms. Bell your spelling of your last name?
The spelling of my last name is Guerriro.
And the first name is Micheline.
Micheline.
Yeah.
Micheline.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guerrero. Would you like to approach the podium? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and I thank you for hearing us as this is our second appeal. We kind of already went over the information regarding us specifically, but I do want to address that perhaps this miscommunication could be avoided in the future with consistency and proactive information provided by the historical organization. I'd like to highlight that the process is not necessarily made known to property owners. At no time did we receive a packet upon deed transfer. The city does not provide yearly paperwork with requirement reminders. We did not realize that the request process was an ongoing lifetime relationship that required approval before we can improve our personal property. I'd like it to be stated that no one cared about the integrity of this property when it was in disrepair. If the board is in fact interested in the integrity of the properties in this district, perhaps it would have been appropriate to reach out to us as owners and discuss with us proper structural repair options. And on this outline that the highlighted pieces at the bottom are directly from the city's website where it discusses the historical permitting process. And there's quite a bit, it's a 2-page article, but here I've just highlighted a few specific things that discuss zoning permits. And I think that's where we had some confusion because one of the arguments from the Historical Review Board is that in the past we did seek them out and that they are saying we're very aware of the process, where in that fact there's some gray area there because when we took ownership of the building, we did add a signage, which we know has to have a more proper permit, and we also changed the frontage quite a bit to include a larger shop-style window, which all was approved at that time. And now, in order to, in this district, change, we did not need a physical permit to do what we did, the work that we did. So when we say before receiving your permit or submitting application for review before receiving a zoning permit, I think that the information is vague when in fact there should just be some ultimate statements that say all changes must be reviewed, but it's vague about what, I just think that the term zoning permit here doesn't really fit. And then again, bold and outlined that any work done to exterior of National Registered properties must be reviewed by the board, even if it does not require a zoning permit. Again, using that word, if you don't need a zoning permit, then it doesn't need to be reviewed. So I think that there is definitely some interpretation issues here. And again, we are proud to be a part of this community. And, this has been a terrible misunderstanding, and we really are hoping here for some leniency in the matter. And if you can help support us, frankly, we do not have the resources to make additional demo and repairs. So again, I thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them for you.
Thank you, Ms. Guerrero. Does the Architecture Board have any questions for these witnesses?
Just a comment about the post office building.
Oh, then you'll do that during your, okay. Anyone on council have any questions for these?
I have a question. Can you share with us what your investment in doing this was?
Approximately $3,000.
Can you share with us what that cost is brick, the actual brick itself?
Yes, it's a thin brick and mortar, and then I had to repair the face of the building, the wooden structure. I don't have an itemized breakdown, and it was 6 months ago, so I don't remember exactly. But the weather-treated wood is on the inside, followed by the tar paper and the wire mesh and the grout, and then the brick and mortar.
What actual resolution are you looking for?
We want to keep it the same way that it is, which is yeah, our picture 3 is what it is, with the addition of the trim. We're willing to add that trim in if need be. That white line is the piece that I'm saying to add in. Everything else is as it is. That white section on picture 3 is what we would be willing to add in, or not add it in if it doesn't provide any benefit to the review, to the architectural review. So we're proposing to keep it as we've prepared it.
Okay, so Mr. Licata and Ms. Micheline, so what you're asking for is they want you to take this off the building?
Yes.
And you're asking for it to be left on the building?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions from council? Okay, thank you. Would you like to have your seat? And then who will be, thank you. Who will be speaking for the Architectural Review Board? And so I will need to swear you in also, Ms. Raputh. Do you swear the testimony you are about to give before this council is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. And would you share with Ms. Bell the spelling of your last name, Ms. Raputh?
And no E. Rapouse is R-A-P-O-S-E.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, good evening.
Good evening.
The Architecture Review Board, now the Ashtabula Historical Planning Commission Preservation Commission, was actually formed in 1979 with the beginning of the historic project in the harbor. It's since morphed into the Ashtabula Preservation Commission, which I'll talk about later. But over the years, it's been 40 years of change. Dedicated people have spent a lot of time trying to improve and preserve the look of the harbor and to get it as much back to a historical look as possible. Right now, we have 7 well-qualified people on our board with background in architecture, construction, real estate, and design and lighting. The meetings we have are attended by a member of the planning department and city council rep. And over the last 5 years, we have had 126 applications, the average 25 a month, I mean a year. I gotta take my glasses off so I can see this. Okay, our people have given freely of their time to review many projects, large and small, including signs, fences, lighting, building renovations, new construction, and landscape projects. When the example that was given for the post office, if the building is not a historical building, which that building was an old gas station, that's now the post office, when we review it with a design that blends in with the area that it's in, just like Lakeways is not an old building, and other more modern buildings. The brewery, it was a city garage. So we worked with those people to give it a look that blended in with the harbor, that had, it still has transom windows, it has some block below the windows that kind of reflect back to the blocks below the windows on Bridge Street. Just things and materials that blend in with that. We know it doesn't look, it's not historical, it's never going to be historical. So that's why the post office was done the way it was done. But we feel that our board has had a big impact in adding to the visual appearance of the harbor and its success. Okay, we have 2 main documents that we work from, one being our sign ordinance, and the other being our guide for preservation, alteration, restoration, and new construction of buildings. It clearly references back to the ordinance that created us, talking about us having the sole responsibility of approving applications for changes to buildings. It talks about what we look at when we are trying to make a decision. We look at general design and arrangement, textures, materials, colors, exterior architectural features, the extent to which the building or structure will be harmonious with the old and historic aspect of the area, the district. And it clearly states that a certificate of appropriateness is required, that no person shall undertake construction, erection, alteration, removal, moving or demolition that will affect the Harbor Historical District, or affect exterior features of the building unless there is a certificate of appropriateness. So when applicants first came to us, they received all these materials and sign ordinance. We refer back to, and our guides refers to the Secretary of Interior Standards of Treatment for Historic Buildings. It's a 172-page document. It goes into detail about the areas of restoration, including preserving, rehabilitating, restoring, and reconstructing. This project was not a restoration, it was a rehabilitation. It's not attempting to make it completely historical, but to blend it in with the other buildings on Bridge Street. In your packet, I included examples of the what a basic storefront has in the harbor area that was built in that time period. The building that they own is definitely built in the earlier time period of the harbor, probably in the 1800s, maybe early 1900s. But the basic characteristics are large windows, storefront windows, some kind of bulkhead beneath the windows, recessed doorways, some, one-story or two-story. There's examples of wooden storefronts on Bridge Street. And even though they are not in the National Register area, they are still in the Harbor Historic District. But you can see large windows, some kind of sectional wood area beneath the window, a lot of times broken up by bays, small bays. And this is another one. So in 2000,
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? You're talking about some documents. Again, so just so this record is clear, you emailed or had the city email a packet of documents to city council?
yes.
And that was
I think,
approximately.
you should have received these also?
No, but it was approximately 16 pages long?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna hand mine down to the clerk. I printed out and asked her to mark that as city exhibit, or actually Kelly's Exhibit 1. So that it's in the record in its entirety. I just printed out the 16 pages that were sent to council. Okay, I'm sorry, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that was in the record.
So this is a copy of the original application with the building, how it was with this closed-in window. And basically, the applicants did not want to spend a lot of money, and they didn't want to take the siding off, they didn't want to take the shutters off. Everything was going to stay the same. They wanted to rehab the front of the building. So, and they had chosen a large window, not as big as some of the ones down on Bridge Street, but they basically put in a bigger window and then added the trim below to kind of reference back to the trim and the sections that are under buildings on Bridge Street. The recessed door remained, and then they had the man door for the upstairs apartment. So those were the changes we approved. The color palette they chose was from colors. We have 180 colors in the Benjamin Moore Historic Collection. People can use Benjamin Moore paint, or they can use any paint they want, as long as the color is close to one of those colors in the collection. So it's a large, and these are the colors that they chose. I think you have a bigger picture that you received of the work, but I have just, in your packets, the smaller version with the finished product as it stood. And then over time, the wood product that they used did not hold up with the weather and started to delaminate. Of course, you gotta remember this is during COVID and everything else, but I did speak to the property owner, and they did say they planned on repairing the building. They didn't say anything about making any changes. Whenever they did start working on it, they did remove the material beneath it. We did not have any reason to think that they were going to change anything, so we did not, send the city down to ask them about it. And then they did put up plywood, which was a good thing because it needed to have a good weather-treated plywood base. But the brickwork was done on a weekend, which was done quickly, and before we were able to, if we had seen it in progress, we would have stopped it in progress, but it was already done. So we filed, with the city about it, and the building that they have was never had brick on it, was never a brick-faced building. Our feeling is that the brick that's on there now gives it more of a 60s look. We feel that here's our, you have our meeting report, which has our denial. The commission voted to deny approval and recommends that the brick facing be removed and the storefront be returned to its original approved design or a new design approved by the commission using wood or a compatible substitute material. We don't feel that the brick material is compatible with what would be the appearance of a historic wooden structure. The sheet in your packet is from the National Register Guidelines speaking about rehabilitation. It says that in rehabilitation, historic building materials and character-defining features are protected and maintained. And to replace extensively deteriorated or damaged missing features using either the same material or compatible substitute materials. As with repair, the preferred option is always replacement of the entire feature in kind with the same material, such as wood for wood. However, when this is not feasible, a compatible substitute material can reproduce the appearance of historic material considered. An example of that, of a substitute material, is the storefront that was recently redone for Bridge Street Tavern, where they used AZIC and LP Smart Side wood, which can be worked the same way as wood, but it does not rot, and it has the same appearance, so it would be a suitable material. The total area of surface that we're talking about is around 100 square feet. And I talked to a well-known contractor that's done a lot of work on Bridge Street. He estimates that the cost of the AZIC or other kind of material would be run around $1,000 and including the paint. Our feeling is that they do not need to remove all their work, only the brick itself, and they could have the good solid plywood surface underneath. So that was why we made that recommendation. In your packet, I don't know, should I read the Planning Commission's letter?
If the Planning Commission is here,
They're not.
then the letter can be read. If the Planning Commission is not here to offer evidence,
Okay.
then really council should consider it.
Okay, Mr. Goodell, who was on the Planning Commission at the time of the denial and is now also a member of our board.
Right, but the Lacottes have the right, and I'm sorry,
I don't need to read it, but can I submit it as evidence in the packet?
not unless the appellants have had the opportunity to cross-examine the person who wrote it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they're entitled to due process. That would be my legal opinion, Mr. President, but ultimately it's your decision.
Okay, well then that we will do then, so. Now, Well,
All right, well, I'm not completely done.
oh, I'm sorry, okay.
All right, so I want to remind council that the Architecture Review Board / Ashtabula Historic Preservation Commission has played a major role in stabilizing an area of the city that was once considered undesirable. When I moved here in the 70s, I was told not to go to the harbor because it was a bad part of town. This board has been working for 40-plus years to preserve and protect the physical appearance of the district and then contributed to its success. And it's still a work in progress, and it can be eroded by these kind of backsliding cuts. At the same time, the city has expanded the board and made us a Historic Preservation Commission, which has allowed the city to attain certified local government status with the state of Ohio. This has helped to spur some downtown development by allowing developers to seek historic tax credits, and it's opened up resources and opportunities for the city. So allowing a Bridge Street property owner that had previously followed the process to redo their storefront in inappropriate material without review sets a precedent that undercuts our years of work and the integrity of both our commission and the planning commission. And we ask you to uphold our decision. And we feel it's a clear violation and it has a clear remedy. And we think that your decision is going to impact the future of the Harbor District and city development. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rapus. Now, would the Lacats have any questions for?
I do have a question, Mrs. Rapus. What exactly qualifies an old building, and where is that distinction publicly available? Like specifically, you're saying that the post office or some other things that are within the historical neighborhood zone, but are dated, like, my building was built on the auditor's site, it says 1920. So that eliminates the 1800s look. And if something was built in the 1960s, are they upheld to the 60s look? To say, because I still think that there's some inconsistency, so I'm just asking what qualifies our building to be specific to one genre of old?
Well, 1920s style still has its own style, which is not a brick storefront. Just like Mr. Humphrey's art studio is not an old building. And when he came through us, we worked with him to the improvements he made to fit the building. And if someone was going to remodel the Squire shop, we would work with them to get it to look best for the period that it was built. So your building is not ancient, no, it's not 1800s, but even the time period for the Harbor Historic District spans quite a range of time. So.
Are there any, thank you. Are there any counselors who have any questions?
Mr. President, I have a couple. I'm the Ward 2 councilman, and so this is in my ward, so I have a keen interest here. When did the committee start?
1979. I mean, 1979.
1979. And now, Mr. President, you kind of exposed yourself at the last meeting when you said that you had gone through 4 city halls. Yeah. So you've been around for a while. Do you remember the Spot Cafe?
Yes.
And when I was a child and I would drive by there, they would have the softball jerseys in the window. And then one day in the mid-1980s, all of a sudden they were gone and there was a brick wall.
I can talk about that.
Was that approved? I mean,
I was there then. The board was new. Mr. DePietro, on a weekend, started tearing off the front of his building. We put a stop work order on it. We went to what was then the City Planning Commission. And you've got to remember that we've been through a lot of different administrations. I would have to say that the Planning Commission then was not the same as it is now. And they were pretty much, like, oh, please let Becky do what he needs to do. And so he had already damaged and completely destroyed the whole front of it, and so that's why he got away with bricking it up.
So it was done before, that's what you're telling me?
It was done on the weekend, yes.
Okay. Now, is the objection to the brick just the color?
No, it's the material.
It's the material? Okay, because you said there was 180 colors that are available. I mean, could they just paint the brick to the color that you like?
It's not the color, it's the material.
Okay. I see the big window that you want. I see the recessed door. The only objection is the brick.
Well, they did have a nice design originally.
Okay.
So are you saying they changed the design?
Well, yeah, but they took, the design that we approved was the design. Was the design that you saw with the,
So, Mrs. Rapuz, what about, how many buildings on Fifth Street are brick and how many are wood? Do you know that?
I don't know, but even the brick ones have wooden storefronts.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'm going to speak my mind because I always do, and I think this is the time to do it. First off, I think this brick looks much better than this. I think that I understand that they didn't go through the proper channels, but I want to tell a story about Fat Sally's Warehouse. When I was first a counselor, they put, I know if you've been by there, they have the garage door that goes up and back. Well, they didn't have that on the front of the building at first. They had windows, but they wanted to put that door in. And I think they got approval, but when the door came, they had to put windows above the door. I can't quite remember, it was a long time ago. But I had Mrs. Nagel at my house crying at my table because they were told that they had to stop. She didn't know how she was going to keep the storefront on. And she said if her and her husband hadn't put all that money into that store, they would have turned around and walked away from the city of Ashtabula. Now, you know Fat Sally's is a great business. They bring in a lot of money, a lot of people to the city of Ashtabula. And I know that Miss Guerrio and Mr. Lacotte know that they did something wrong here. But I don't want to see her turn around and say, we'll just forget the building and let it rot, because right here on Fifth Street is this gray building that nobody's doing anything about. It looks like heck. So we let this go, but we're complaining about this. And I understand, and I respect you. I respect your committee, and I respect you. And I know they did wrong, but I would like to see us come to a compromise and not have to have them take that brick off the building. I just don't think it's necessary at this point.
Well,
That's my opinion.
I can tell stories about Fat Sally's too.
I know.
And
I
all
know a
the
couple.
work we've done with Corey Nagel and Amy, I think that was kind of a, don't know the word I want to use.
Hysterical error.
Yeah, I think that they've overplayed that a lot.
Well,
We've worked with them a lot. We worked
yes.
with them on their new edition.
Right.
You know.
But the thing of it was, at that point, she was ready to just close her business and move away if they hadn't put every penny into it. And I appreciate that Micheline's a young person, and she has this art studio. This is not what she does full-time. You're a teacher, correct? Yes. She teaches by day and does the art studio on the weekend. I appreciate that they've done some work to that building instead of just leaving it there to decay. And I know it's wrong what they did. I know the material might not fit. I honestly drive by this building, I can't, 10 times a week. I never noticed that the brick was done until this came up. So for me, it's not a big deal. I mean, I think it looks much better than it did, although I understand you have rules. It's a two-sided thing, but I'll go over and slap her hand, but we need to come to.
We have worked with, we've had other people, like when Parolas put the vinyl white replacement window in the transom of the building that nights and weekends is in right now, they had to take it out and put in an appropriate window. When the,
Details matter.
when the people that, when they built the walkway behind Briquette's there, next to Briquette's, they put up an inappropriate railing. Again, you know, these are things that were done either without going through us or by, like, not abiding by what they said they were gonna do. You know, I just think that this looks like a building that could be on Main Avenue with a bricked up front. It doesn't look like a building that belongs on Bridge Street.
I don't think it looked like a building that belonged on Bridge Street before they did any work to it. It was pretty bad. And before you bought the building was even worse.
Well, I know, but they did do work to it, and it was good work, and, you know, you know, I think, I mean, if what we were asking them to do, I thought was outrageously expensive, then I would say yes, but I don't think it is.
Can the crowd speak? I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Yes. Not at this time. Any other counselors have any questions?
Yes.
Mr., oh, go ahead, do you wanna?
So I'm curious, is it that they didn't, which is the weightier error, that they didn't follow the process or they changed the material?
Well, if they had followed the process, we would have told them that not to use the brick, and we wouldn't be here.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I certainly understand the desire to have some standards, some consistent standards, because if you just, people allow anyone to just admit that they were wrong and they can still get away with anything, then we're going to have an area that's just going to look like
Well, you're
it's
gonna have
very
a lot more
eclectic.
people
I get
coming
that.
through here.
But I'm wondering, does it have to be an either or? I'm like, what are you willing to compromise on? They're willing to compromise something. Is there any area where you all are willing to compromise?
I don't know how you could mitigate it being brick.
That part threw me because you already said the post office has some brick, and there's some other areas,
Right, but
buildings that also have brick.
So that's not a historic building, the post office.
So it's a mixed bag. And the area is mixed. You have some,
Whatever time period that the building was from, we wouldn't try to make the post office look like it was built in 1800 or 1920.
this is the part that really confuses me, because if you have not even mixed use, but if you have mixed material in the area, then why is it not allowed to have mixed material in the area? I know that's a crazy rhetorical question.
It has material that has wood and vinyl siding, but it wouldn't, that type of building would not have a brick front.
Mr. Poos, will you make sure you speak in the mic, please? Thank you, sorry about
Sorry.
that. We got to get you on tape.
That's confused. So it's really not consistent then?
Well, it's
If I'm
consistent.
misunderstanding something.
Mr. Timoney?
Mr. President, if I might, Ms. Holman, I'm glad you bring up compromise, because that's something behind the scenes we've been trying to work with to come up with some type of compromise. But just to hone in a little bit on what Ms. Rapoose is talking about. In the historic district, if you have a building such as the traffic building that we believe was built in the 70s, somewhere around there, they would not try to make that building look like it was from the 1920s. There again, when you have new construction, you try to just match what's around the building, so that would be in the situation of the condos. In this situation, the building was built in about 1920s, so we try to mimic that period. The post office was again in the 60s, 70s, somewhere in there, so you try to mimic that period. Yes, you have a mixed bag within the district, but it all falls to when the building was constructed. That's the type of period you try to go after. Getting into compromise, one of the things that we have been discussing in the office, and I've sort of thrown it out, is possibly maybe leaving the brick on the bottom part and then doing the siding a little bit higher up, maybe maybe up to the bottom window, leaving brick at the
Similar
bottom.
to the way it is at the post office, similar to that. for
Similar
sure.
to that, yes. That was one of the, I don't know if either party would be amenable to that, but To me, that kind of seems like everybody's angry and walks away angry and we get it solved.
I think that would just create a really hodgepodge look. To start leaving parts here and taking parts off there. So I guess, you know.
I have one
Where,
question.
what are you willing to compromise?
I'm just wanting you guys to make a decision.
That's a yes or no. That's not a compromise.
Well, I don't see a compromise.
Any other counselors?
I just have one question. Mr. LaCoppe, is this still underneath the brick or is it gone? It's gone. So what are we arguing about at this point? I mean, it's gone. Unless you take the brick off and rebuild that, it's already gone. It's unfortunate, but it's gone.
Okay, so if somebody else does something, says, I'm really sorry, and then they appeal it all the way to you, is this gonna happen again?
Understood.
Probably, yeah. Mhm.
And what's the, you know,
Yeah,
point?
that's no way to set things up, no.
I think, I think we need to understand the whole district. For example, he's shared with us a picture of the condos there. Those windows were architecture board requests. The arch on the garages, the brick lines and the facade, those were all requests from the architecture board to make those condos, even though they're brand new, to try to fit them into the district more appropriately. So these are the kind of things you have to work to and compromise. You mentioned the old gray building. The old gray building was scheduled, the guy bought it and he was gonna tear it down, we were concerned that we would lose a historical building. So he's keeping it up, and our hope is that, and I think if you talk to him, our hope is that eventually it's gonna be repaired and fit back into the district, like many of those buildings down there. If we remember Fitzgerald's Wine Bar, which sat vacant for decades with no ceiling, you know. So that's why this is it's a hard thing to do.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying, Mrs. Rapuz. You don't want this to be a repetitive problem. Now, if memory serves me correct, at our very last council meeting, we went on for at least 25 minutes about the fact that our codes were bad. And that we're prepared to spend thousands of dollars to get somebody to rewrite them. Maybe when we do that, this kind of stuff can be addressed in black and white, so there's no miscommunications. It's not an opinionated thing. It's this is the way it is. And then we can move forward with our new codes.
Mr. President, Mr. Guerrero, just to clarify, the zoning code throughout the city, that is what I've been talking about quite a bit. The zoning code for a historic district will not change very much because that is dictated by the National Register.
But will it be specific?
It's specific now. I mean, there's a in the documents that were being presented, there is a clear defined map that encompasses what that district is. And contrary to some of the belief, there is no doubt when you're in that district of things you have to follow. We run into these issues and the board is called everything under the sun only when things are done outside of a permitted process. Typically what has happened when people are doing projects down there, we will bring the historic board in early on to have meetings with them. We have one of the owners of the hotel here. Very early on in the sketches of that hotel, we brought members of the Architectural Review Board in to make sure that they were following the guidelines that we're going to set forth. And we've done that for several of the buildings down there. Most of you know this process I'm not a very big fan of because I don't like to get in the way of business. However, this is what has protected the integrity of the harbor. I don't like to see people have to go through issues like this. I don't like to see this back and forth and this feeling that the city is after them or this or that and the other. I very much appreciate that mistakes were made and the acknowledgement of that. I am hopeful that there can be some kind of compromise here on this issue. But as far as zoning changing in the district, it won't. There are standards that have to be followed, or we just lose the designation and go about our day, and you'll have pink and yellow and blue buildings popping up on Bridge Street, much like they are on Main Avenue right now.
Can I ask Ms. Rapus a question?
Yeah.
Just so we can sort of figure, where's the parameters, boundaries that are considered historical? Where does that go?
The historic district goes from the river and up to Lake Avenue, both sides of Lake Avenue.
Okay,
It also includes Walnut Beach. And then the southernmost border is where Save-A-Lot is, like the Nagel's building is in the district, the other side of the road is not.
okay.
So, Mr. President, and just to clarify too, because I know there was some mention about addresses. So there's actually two types of districts within the boundaries that were just stated. The lower portion of Bridge Street, so from the river to Holbert, I think it is?
No, the river from,
Franklin.
I'm sorry, the river to Franklin.
Franklin.
That is considered on the National Register Historic District. So that entire area is national. The boundary outside of that is what the city has established as the city's historic district, which encompasses that national district as well.
Okay, so Ms. Cooper, can I have a little guidance, please? We want to make sure we do this the right way.
I guess the thing would be if there's any other questions for Ms. Rapus.
Any other questions from council? Or
I think Mr. Licata had a question.
It was just going to be a comment, sorry. It was sort of about the blending information. It does blend, and I know, I understand that perhaps it's not a wood structure, but it does blend. Brick blends with brick, there is brick down there. I understand it was wood originally, perhaps, but it does blend with the community. And as far as us getting away with something, we didn't do something drastic. We didn't paint this some wild color. We didn't put vinyl siding, we didn't extend the vinyl siding now. We put up something that is on the street. Perhaps it's not perfect, I guess. I'm not a historian, so I can't justify that, but it's not a deplorable thing that was completed. I don't think you're gonna have trouble in the future, somebody doing something crazy because, oh, I did this.
Any other questions from council?
So then is there anybody here from the planning commission that wants to present?
There's no one here from the planning commission, I don't think tonight. I do sit, in all fairness, I sit on the planning commission and I sit on the architecture board. I do not vote. I'm only council representative. I go see what they're doing and I report back to council, so I do not vote. But I was on the architecture board for years before I was on council. Okay,
So then you can open it to public comment if you want.
okay. Anyone in the public who would like to comment, but we will ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Yes, sir.
I just had a short kind of comment. Did I hear that there was 172 pages that they were expected?
I'm sorry, just so that the record is
Yeah,
clear, if
you
you're
have
gonna
to go to
comment,
the podium,
please-
state
yeah.
your name and address if you would.
Michael Wooden. My address is 1711 West 9th Street. I was just curious, I thought I heard, was there 172 pages they were expected to go through to find exactly what they needed to do their business correctly and make these modifications?
The 172 pages are the historical guidelines for the district that the architecture committee uses as their guide. And then when somebody comes to them, then they would purse out the appropriate, for example, there would be they weren't painting their building, so there was no need for them to go over all the paint colors and so forth.
Okay, and then I guess the only other thing is just, obviously, small business owners, I think is fantastic for the city and for the Bridge Street. Living just down the road, I would say that, obviously from what I saw, the original pictures and what they've done through the original change obviously looked great. Obviously that would deteriorate it, and they tried to do their best, and I think that it does look significantly better on Bridge Street, having that the way that it is. So I just wanted to
Thank you, sir.
state that.
Anyone else who would like to address council? Yes, would you approach the podium in 3 minutes, if you would, please?
What I would like to see is, I'm totally biased in this, first of all, because it's my sister's building, but I did not appreciate
Would you state your name, please?
Anthony Guerriero.
Thank you.
I did not appreciate Mrs. Rapous's personal attack on my brother-in-law, insinuating that he tried to sneak in a project on the weekend when he works all week, and that was the only time he had to do it, and then she turned around and threw it again back at the guy on the spot. If that was the case, maybe we should talk about that a little more. But, this was not a forum for personal attacks, and I think that was reprehensible.
All right, thank you, Mr. Guerrero.
I took it that way.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Would you approach the podium, state your name and address, please?
I'm Teresa Hodgson. I live at 1097 Walnut. So
Can you spell your last name?
H-O-D as in David, G as in George, S as in Susan, O-N as in Nancy.
And how's Teresa spelled?
T-H-E-R-E-S-A.
Thank you.
Just a quick query. How did the Riverbend Hotel, whatever it's going to be down there, how did that justify that stone front? Because that looks very 1980s, 1990s to me. I drive across Bridge Street daily, and that's an odd look for the harbor. How did that pass inspection if we're quibbling over this?
When the Riverbend Hotel was being designed, they met with the architectural board committee, and so things like window size, window color, brick shape, arches, and so forth, all that was worked out with the committee. The backing and the siding, that was worked out with the committee. So that's how that all got to be worked on beforehand. Just like I said, with the condos, with all the other buildings on Bridge Street, they usually go to the committee, and then suggestions are made, and then they follow the guidelines as best they could. All right, yes.
I'm Julene Schwartz. I'm on the Planning Commission, the Historical Planning Commission. And I just want to say, if you go to a place like Providence, Rhode Island, Portland, if you go to Paris, if you go to London, there are rules in the historical districts. There are details you follow. And if you don't follow those details, the places aren't going to attract people for vacations. Once you go to a place, you think, oh, this place looks cruddy, you don't go back. So details matter for the whole vacation part of the historic district. And pulling in vacationers brings money to our city. The hotel brings money to our city. Details matter.
Thank you, Ms. Schwartz. Okay. All right, seeing no one else to comment, I will say, Mr. Guerrero, I imagine you will abstain from this night's vote?
If I have to. I would like to make one more comment, though. I just believe that, I don't think that this has bereft the historical area of any significance. I don't think it's going to alter anybody's vacation plans because they put up a few bricks, and I really think this is insignificant in the circle of economic growth in the historical district. And if I'm not allowed to vote, I will not. Obviously, my vote would have been a yes vote to keep it, but if I'm not allowed, that's, you guys are calling shots.
Well, Mr. Guerrero, the question is, and I don't know, are you related to the appellants, and if so, how?
Oh, absolutely I am. It's my sister.
That's, okay.
Then you would abstain.
So just as on occasion, there are times when Ms. DiGiacomo has to consider whether her personal relationship would either be inappropriate or look inappropriate when she votes. You have to make that same decision, but it's a decision personal to you.
Well, what do you recommend? You're the solicitor.
If
I don't
it
want to
were-
do anything wrong.
It's not a matter of legal or
Well,
not legal.
what's your
because
opinion? That's
you
what we're
don't-
asking, or I'm
Okay.
asking.
Because you don't have a financial interest in the business.
Zero.
Then legally, you don't have to recuse. However, as a personal matter, since you asked if it were my sister, I wouldn't vote.
Okay, well then I'll abstain.
We're curious.
That'll make everybody happy. That's no problem.
And as I mentioned, I'm a member of both committees, but I do not vote on either of those things. I'm just an observer, so there's no conflict on my part. Is there anyone on council who would like to make a motion at this time?
What are we motioning on?
Or anyone would like to make any motion at any kind?
I'd like to make the motion that we just keep the building the way it is, or how do we?
So you would move to uphold the appeal?
No.
What would be the correct term?
Deny the, oh, no, uphold your appeal.
Uphold the appeal? So you're making a motion to uphold the appeal?
To uphold the appeal would be to keep it,
Well, no, what would it be, Ms.?
I don't know.
To uphold their appeal. Uphold the appeal.
You are making a motion to grant the appeal and reverse the decision of the appeal of the
Yes.
historic review board.
Okay, so
Yes.
you're making a motion to grant the appeal.
yes.
Of the historic commission
I'll second.
and the planning commission.
Who was that?
Mr. Giacomo.
We have a motion by Mrs. Foglio. Second by Mrs. DiGiacomo. Any discussion?
Okay, let me clarify. If we say yes or no, what is it? Because you guys got me confused. Oh, my gosh.
Ms. Foglio made a motion to uphold the appeal and reverse the decision of the planning commission. So if you vote yes, you'll be voting to uphold the appeal and reverse the decision.
So yes would be the brick? Correct. Okay, in simple terms.
It's getting late.
Any other,
You can affirm, modify, or reverse, technically is the word, the decisions.
The wording,
And so what
okay.
your motion is to reverse the decisions.
reverse the decision, okay.
Okay.
Excuse me, Madam,
Go ahead.
Madam Solicitor, once that vote is taken, can we actually offer a different sort of motion? Because you just offered a bit of other options. You said modify,
Affirm, modify, or reverse.
for modify, or- so we could do any of those three.
Yes, ma'am.
But the planning commission offered no modification, so I don't know if that's on the board.
That would be my hope.
Well, there's already a motion and a second on the floor. Would the people who moved and seconded want to withdraw that? Okay, so they do not want to withdraw that. So then we will take a roll call vote? Huh?
You can discuss it.
Yeah,
I mean, you can discuss the motion
right.
if there's,
But I think, Ms. Holman, you want to make a different motion, right?
Well, I was hoping I didn't have to. That's why I asked for clarification. We have options. It could be to affirm it. That means yay, the appeal upholds. To modify it goes back to some sort of incremental or changes, or to reverse it means it goes back to the original decision.
no, when you reverse, if you vote to reverse, you're reversing the denials that were done by the historical board, historical commission, and the planning commission. And you're basically saying that the brick is fine, we're not gonna make you change it at all. You can affirm their decision, which would then require them to make the changes requested by the Historical Commission, or you can modify the decision of the Historical Commission and make your own requirements about what should happen with the building. For instance, if you liked Mr. Timonier's suggestion of putting wood further down, making it look like the post office, that was a suggestion that was made, you could order that. Or you could order that it all be turned to brick, or whatever modification in what they want to do and what the Historical Commission wants them to do that you think would be appropriate.
Which is the only option for a compromise.
Unless you have another creative solution, yes, ma'am, because it looks like that's where we are. But you can certainly use your own best judgment in what you think would be historically accurate and look right in that area.
So in essence, we're sending it back to them, or we are actually coming up with some?
If you modify their decision, then you're deciding what the compromise is. If you affirm their decision, then that's it. The building has to be changed to the way the Historical Commission wants it. If you reverse their decision, then the building stays the way it is.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a motion and a second, council. Okay, anyone else on council would have anything to offer?
I'm asking Councilor Foglio, are you going to maintain your motion as is?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's, we can't discuss it.
Yeah,
Yes?
no,
I think
you
it's
can
pretty,
discuss.
I think it's pretty clear that there's no going to be any compromise here, so.
Yeah, but what Madam Solicitor is saying is that we can institute a compromise. We have that flexibility.
I don't think I'm in the seat to tell you what to do, you know. Well, I want to see it with siding up on top. I don't think that would look good. So I don't think, no, I think I'm going to keep my motion as is. With all due respect, Mrs.
Any other councilor would like to say anything?
I'd
So
like
the-
to try to find win-win situations.
I don't know. And I appreciate that, Ms. Woman. I will just say that I appreciate the whole situation, but, you know, there's a building down on Bridge Street, used to be called the Harbor Hilton. It's a big apartment building. And one day they went down and painted it red and green. This brick from the 1800s, and they went down and painted it red and green. So I don't.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Well, so what we're actually saying is that if this is overturned, they could virtually paint it red and green.
That's
what we're-
that's my only
we're
caveat.
leaning.
Like I said, I appreciate the whole situation, but I think to say that this is, and that's the dilemma we're in. We're in one situation that's going to affect a whole historical area. And so that's what makes this so difficult. And it has been so difficult from the very beginning. But we have a motion and a second. Any other counselor would like to add anything? Ms. Bell, would you please call the roll? This is to reverse the decision. If you want to reverse the decision of the Architecture Board and the Planning Commission, you would vote yes, if you want to reverse their decision.
Mrs. DeGiacomo?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Abstain.
Mr. Simeone? Mr. Roskovics?
No.
Ms. Holman?
Madam Solicitor, can I abstain as well?
Not without giving a reason, no, ma'am. I think without I think without some sort of interest that you can't abstain.
When you say some sort of interest, I do have interest.
Either a financial interest or a personal interest, as in a family relationship that would, but again, that's,
We could
that's
be
something
related, couldn't
personal
we?
to you.
Small town.
Ms. Bell?
I was asking Ms. Holman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Mrs. Mills?
No.
Is everybody-
What was the vote?
It carries.
Mr. Guerrero abstained. Mr. Simeone is absent.
Right. So it was a 3-2 vote.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion, Ms. Foglio's motion has failed by a 3-2 motion. Okay.
Wait, did I call your name, Mr. Roskovich? You
Yeah,
said no?
called me.
Okay.
Yeah, I said no. Okay.
So
So-
if that's, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Mr. President. So Mr. Roskovich voted no, Ms. Holman voted no, Ms. Mills voted no, Mrs. DeGiacomo, Mrs. Foglio voted yes. So, 3-2.
3-2, the
Yes.
motion failed. So the decision will not be reversed. It will stand as decided. Okay.
Now can I make a new motion? Madam Solicitor, can I offer a new motion at this point since the previous one failed? I might need some support. So I propose that we modify. That means we try to discuss and come up with a win-win situation. Is that correct, or just take me along?
I'll second that.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
If I might make a suggestion, my staff is probably going to hate me for doing this, but we would entertain being kind of the mediator between the Historic Review Board and the owners to see if we can come up with a compromise and then report back at the next meeting. Does that
Fine.
sound fair to you guys as well?
Yes, but this number 3, this is not what the actual building looks like. This is the compromise that we were asked to propose, and we came up with this maquette. Just to be fair, like, this trim does not exist on the building, but this is what we were trying to, all along, have a compromise, and it was just like, no. So,
Okay.
I just want you to know, we have tried to compromise, and that is picture number 3 here, under heading number 3. Like, this is what we propose it look like. Not the building, not having white here, it would be the brown that's also with the matching trim. But like I kept it white because it's hard to see in a picture with the brick and a brown. So like that would be a white and then a green boxed out trim to appease that squared off, like gingerbread type characteristic that I think is desirable for buildings down here. So I do want you to know that. I appreciate your opportunity to compromise. This is what we were trying to do all along, and we have not been well received, so.
What about
President,
what about the city manager's recommendation?
Ms. Cooper?
that answer is a yes.
Yes,
to that.
yes, we would be happy to compromise.
If you wanted to
Uh,
make that go faster.
Excuse me, Ms. Cooper.
So my suggestion to Councilwoman Holman was going to be that she amend the language of her motion such that the council finds that modification is in the best interest of both parties and direct the city manager to have his staff, whether that's the plan, sit down with both parties.
Yes.
And see if he can come up with a compromise that both parties can live with and is still historically reasonable,
That would be my recommendation.
and report back next meeting.
That would be my recommendation.
So Ms.
I move.
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Holman moves for, and Mr. Giacomo seconds that the motion, this
City
situation
manager.
goes back to the
City manager and his
manager's
staff.
office for mediation between the complaints and the Architectural Review Board. So that's the motion. Any discussion?
I guess I would just say that, kind of as you mentioned earlier, you asked multiple times for a compromise, and there was not any compromise, so I feel like you're delaying.
Okay, but we're on with the council. When I said discussion, I'm sorry. That's okay, that's fine. No, you're fine. Any other discussion on council? Ms. Bell, would you please call the roll on the motion to send this to modify with the city manager's office serving as a mediator, I guess.
In conjunction with both parties.
Right. modified with both parties and Mr. Manager mediating. Okay, that's
Miss-
our motion and that's our second. Would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mrs. DeGiacomo?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Abstain.
Mr. Simeone? Mr. Roskovich?
No.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
Okay, so that motion has passed by a 4-1 vote, so it will go, Mr. Timonier will take charge of this meeting between the Architecture Board and the complainants. Okay? Thank you very much. Thanks to council. That was quite involved. So, and Ms. Cooper, thank you for your help so that we made sure we did this the proper way. Thank you. Okay, we're now going to go on to continue with our meeting. Believe it or not, we still have more to do. So, but thank you. And we are going to continue on with our meeting. At this time, if anyone from the public would like to address council, you would approach the podium, state your name and of course your address for the record, and we will be happy to hear your concerns. Any issue, yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Kelly Lunneberg, Kelly Lunnenberg, and I'm at 1711 Walnut Boulevard. As a Walnut Boulevard homeowner, I'm requesting the City Council appeal to the City Manager's decision for approval of the June 15th festival at Walnut Beach. I'm asking City Council to hold a special City Council meeting to establish the justification of setting a new precedent of such a monumental increase to Walnut Beach traffic, parking, noise, litter, and the overall decrease of peace and usability for community beachgoers and residential neighborhood homeowners. The approval of this large festival brings many concerns forward, both for safety and potential financial impact to our city, as well as concerns from the residential property owners regarding their peace and home values. It would be helpful if the City Council got involved in oversight of significant changes in size and scope of events approved at Walnut Beach, such as the June 15th festival. I have signatures from 24 residents representing 21 properties who have concerns about the potential impact of large festivals at Walnut Beach. To the best of my understanding, large festivals have not been held at Walnut Beach in over 40 years. In the past 8 years, 18 homes in the immediate vicinity of Walnut Beach have been purchased by new homeowners who have had no reasonable expectation that large festivals would take place at Walnut Beach. Only 39 permits for use at Walnut Beach have been approved in the last 6 years by the city manager. Those include events such as a wedding, a memorial service, a children's birthday party, staging for foot races, beach cleanup events, and yoga classes. These events, as well as the city-sponsored Bands on the Beach concert, draw small crowds and have minimal effect on beach and residential activity. The approval of this large festival is not equivalent to any previous events at Walnut Beach in size and scope going back decades. The fireworks that took place at night, not during the daytime beach use hours, and the firework noise from the event was less than an hour. The June 15th festival advertises 8+ hours of continuous amplified noise performances on its main stage. In addition, there will be food truck vendors and other vendors that would be required to have their own generated power, so there could be generated noise that could run as needed during the 2 days included in the request for permit. In comparison, the duration of the vast majority of the prior approved events at Walnut Beach averages about 3 hours and have no amplified sound or only minimal noise associated with them. Multiple 2.5-hour-long drum circles have been approved by the city manager, including a recent drum circle that was audible in the neighborhood surrounding Walnut Beach on April 8th. Specifically, due to the duration and intensity of this most recent drum circle, the noise was disturbing enough to residents and visitors that it has caused great concerns as to what kind of effect a large festival would bring to the peace of residents and beachgoers alike. Even if festivals offer remote parking areas and shuttle service, many beachgoers and attendees will choose to park on residential streets. Closing one side of Walnut Boulevard to parking may remedy any emergency vehicle access issues on our street. However, parking bans limit parking available to homeowners and their guests during peak days in the summer and is an undue hardship on residential properties. The city has not satisfactorily addressed the safety aspect of Walnut Beach having only a singular entrance and exit point in the case of an emergency like a drowning at the beach or a fire at the festival. The application for permit for the June 15th festival requests the use of Walnut Beach for Friday, June 14th and Saturday, June 15th, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. And I believe that that might be a typo by the organizers. I think that's 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. The festival requested the following: use of Walnut Beach and electrical boxes, including grassy area with pavilions, parking lot, concession stand bathrooms, and breakwell parking area, which is basically all of the parking available there. The festival's website advertised 2,000 people attended last year's festival. I asked the City Council to set a special meeting on the feasibility of large festivals being approved at Walnut Beach and ask the June 15th festival permit be paused until the City Council can look into concerns and decide on any necessary changes to City Code as written. I would ask that also the community be notified of such meeting and have the ability to submit comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else who would like to address council at this time? Go ahead, sir. Approach the podium, state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Michael Reif, 6229 Murray Avenue. I'm the president and co-founder of Pride, Ashtabula Pride Incorporated. We have brought this to our community 4 years ago using the Hamper Farm our first year, and it was very well received. We had thousands of people show up to the point where we didn't know how many came. That is true. We know that at least 3,000 came because that's how much lemonade was sold. There was 3,000 cups brought. The past 2 years we used the fairgrounds, and this past summer they ran into the situation where the fairgrounds said, hey, we rented it out to someone else too. So they lost their date, and in turn caused vendors to not be able to come and things like that. So we've worked very hard this year on getting those vendors back and our supporters, our sponsorships with Signature Health, for example, big names here in our county. We just heard about bringing in people with wanting them to see something good. And this is something good. We're not looking at terrorizing the neighborhood. You know, we're bringing in family and friends. We have caricatures that are coming for the kids' events and things like that. We have groundkeepers that will be, sweeping through, and we've already ordered garbage cans, the whole 9 yards. So we will ensure that we will keep the area clean as best as we possibly can. Noise, there's no noise ordinance during the day. We're just gonna have music playing and people performing, just as you would go down, any state park like Geneva on the Lake and hear music playing. Local bands and things like that will be performing throughout the day. So I do ask that all of our hard work that we put into and payments that we've received from our vendors, we would allow us to be able to have this festival this year. Thank you.
Sir, could you just spell your last name?
R-I-F-F-E. Thank you.
R-I. Oh, Riff. I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. Approach the podium, state your name.
Hi, it's me, Teresa, again, Hodgson, from 1097 Walnut Boulevard. I'm not crazy about the idea of the festival on the beach. I live kind of virtually next door to Point Park. And some summers I've been at war with the thugs that frequent Point Park. It's madhouse. So is the traffic. Comes in and out of Point Park. Constantly, police will be there surveilling. Late at night, we're calling. But to invite a whole lot of party atmosphere down to Walnut Beach, I think is going to diffuse the family picnic attraction that Walnut Beach has to so many kids who are pedestrians, who go down there for a summer swim, or folks walking their buggies, kids riding bicycles. It's an issue. If you're worried about golf carts, mini bikes, and the like on side streets, I could turn your hair white with the stories of the stuff that goes on down on Walnut Boulevard. So I'm not thrilled to have a big spontaneous party at the park. I realize a sweet thing like a wedding reception, a birthday party, that's cute. And it's usually pretty limited to invited guests in an invited area. My daughter once belonged to the Family Y in Perry. Lovely little building there. But you needed permission to rent it out. You needed to itemize how many people would be attending and what it was going to be used for. So in spite of the privileges that ownership allowed them or membership allowed them, they still had to knuckle under to what the YMCA would allow. So I'd like the council to knuckle under to what the residents would like on Walnut Boulevard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hodgkins.
Can I say something? I live on Walnut Boulevard. I live on the other end. I know that these festivals and things, wine and walleye, everything happens. I know they're going to be parking in front of my house. I know it. I knew it. I think my husband probably knew it when he bought the house. But I think that the park Walnut Beach is a public place. And I think that anyone who's getting the proper permission to do it should be able to. I mean, we're going to be bringing, again, thousands of people into the city. They're going to go, they're going to eat, they're going to look around the city. Maybe they'll like the city and move here. The beachgoers, I think, can still go to the beach, although they'll have a problem finding a place to park. But it's 2 days. It's like the wine and walleye, one day. Oh, it's only, well,
Friday
so
night.
that would be Friday night or Saturday?
Set up. Friday.
Set up. So it's one day. It's one day where thousands of people are going to be coming to visit our city and spend money. I think we should utilize our beach more.
We spend money every month.
Okay, excuse me, ma'am. Thank you. We don't, no.
Mr. President.
I'd appreciate you not, anyone who talks would have to do so from the podium. Mr. Guerrero?
Could it just be required that we have adequate patrol on Walnut Boulevard? I'm not even talking about the people that are actually going to be down into the beach area. I'm talking about someone that is just specifically patrolling on Walnut to make sure that no one's parking by a fire hydrant, to make sure nobody's driveway's blocked, to make sure there isn't any trouble down at that Point Park. You know, I think from a security issue, it makes sense, and I'm not exactly sure how off-duty police officers are funded, but whoever is responsible for that, they would just have to pay for it. That's all. I mean, I think that could be would help.
Yeah.
Mr. President, so Mr. Guerrero, yeah, and I've already discussed this, but the festivals, all of the festivals, including Wine and Walleye, Beach Glass, and this festival, they all pay for their own security. So they hire our police officers. That does
So
come
who
out of the city
decides,
budget.
I guess, how much security you have?
That's usually a conversation between the police department and the festival itself. So we sit down every year, and I say we because I was one of the originators of Wine and Walleye, so I've been involved in it ever since its inception. We usually sit down with the police department and go over times of the day that things are happening, where and when people should be. I think it's also very pertinent to mention that this festival is not asking for a liquor permit, so there will be no liquor down at the park, unlike Beach Glass Festival, or I'm sorry, unlike the Wine and Walleye Festival, which, by the way, was supposed to happen at the beach when it was first originated. The reason it got moved was because there is no permitted Sunday sales on the beach, and we found that out 5 days prior to the festival happening, and we had to move it to Bridge Street. But in addition to the officers that are paid, the district car, who would be in the harbor area, would be patrolling the different streets there. And in addition to that, we would set up zones where there are, just like we do for every other festival, we would set up zones where there is no parking to make sure that there's adequate space to get through for emergency vehicles, and so that people aren't parking in front of fire hydrants and all that.
Once again, in fairness to that's my ward, and I would just request that there is somebody specific, not on the beach grounds, on top of the hill, to make sure that none of these calamities that could possibly happen.
And that would be the district car that's in that vicinity on their regular
And they'll
shift.
be there the whole time, whatever the prescribed hours are. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention too much how long it's going to last.
12 to 8, yep. But obviously, people will be coming.
Yeah, I'm sure. Down in the beach area.
Yeah.
The residents live on the top of the hill. I want them protected.
Right.
I'm also, Ian Rapus, I'm also at Walnut Boulevard resident. I hear more noise at night from loud stereos down along the break wall, comes right up, and people driving crazy from the point. But I'm happy to see people using the beach and enjoying themselves. There was tons of people there for April 8th. The crowd was a happy crowd. They enjoyed themselves and didn't even really leave a big mess. So I think it's a good thing.
Thank you, Ms. Rupel. Anyone else who would like to speak on the subject? You need to,
Do I have to live in Ashtabula to be able to talk?
no, but you have to go to the podium.
I'm Rebecca Beeman, and Rebecca's R-E-B-E-K-A-H, Beeman, B-E-E-M-A-N. I am Vice President and co-founder of Ashtabula Pride, and I would like to state that our event is a very, very family-friendly event. We will have bounce houses from Big Dog Bounce House. We are having Ariel and Moana and Captain America and Spider-Man. We have face painters and professional balloon twisters and caricature artists. And this is a family-friendly, all-inclusive event. There will be no liquor. There will be any inappropriate dress or anything. We will kindly ask them to go home or put something on. We're not gonna tolerate anybody being super rowdy or anything like that. It is a family-friendly event.
Thank you, Ms. Beeman. Did you want, Ms. Bell?
So hi, my name's Ashley Bell. I'm the clerk of council. So I'm actually from Ashtabula, and I left when I was 18 years old, and I came back, and I come back to people in our community that are making it more appealing, that are having events and things like that, because we're about a generation or two from shutting down. So to see people who are Gen Xers and millennials bringing economic growth and bringing festivals to make people want to come to visit Ashtabula, I think it's amazing. And I don't know if I'll be at Pride, just to put that on the record, but I appreciate you guys wanting to utilize the beach because it's a beautiful place. And we had so many compliments about the solar eclipse day where people were down there admiring our beach and not getting too rowdy. And I just think that living by a public park, that's just something that you might have to deal with every now and again. And we only have a short summer here in Ashtabula, so I think that it's neighborly to offer your neighborhoods for people to park and to just get to know one another. So I think that it's amazing that people are pouring this into our community because it is a great place to live.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Anyone else who would like to address council tonight?
Yeah, so my name's Michael Wooden, W-O-O-D-I-N, and I'm over 1711 West 9th Street. I am a proud veteran. I also grew up in the area out in Dorset and came back. I'm also a gay man, and so being a part of that community, being able to come here and celebrate myself with like-minded people in a very family-friendly oriented way. I think we've put together, I'm a part of the board with them as well. Director position. I'm going to be doing grounds, so I'll be cleaning up any trash that is there with a small team of people that we have, volunteers to help clean that up. I live down the street, so again, I very much want to see Walnut Beach do well, and I want to keep it clean. So fully intend to be there and support that while working and living in this area.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wooden. I appreciate that. Okay. Anyone else who would like to address council? I know we've had a long night, but it was a productive night, and we learned a lot, so that's good. Anyone else, council? Seeing no one, our next council meeting will be Monday, May the 20th at 7 o'clock. And at this time, we will adjourn. Thank you. Everyone have a good week.